Killing Bites returns for more sex and violence, and we finally get to get an epic battle between Hitomi and Tiger. Another week, another episode of Killing Bites, and another episode that honestly left me kind of conflicted. I'm really excited for where this conclusion is going to be going. The Destroy All has been a lot of fun. It's basically just been a big, super badass free-for-all. But also, I have to admit, the pacing of this episode, and in particular the entire arc, has been kind of slow. And honestly, this episode right here almost felt like an extension of last week's, with a few minor additions, like watching Gorilla and Kido fight, which was not so much a fight as it was an absolute freaking massacre. But this episode does take some time to spend some time with the leaders of these various Zaibatsu and getting into their personalities a little bit. More like the one who is the leader of Sumitomo, the guy who is in charge of all the reptile people who are already dead and he's already lost, and you know what? He's taken that loss in stride, but he's also planning ahead. He realizes that Kido, the scientist who's been creating all of these therianthropes, is little by little trying to take advantage of this gangster organization so that he can sap them of their resources, so that he can take over it and create a world filled with therianthrope people, which could lead to a lot of really crazy stuff. But we'll have to see if that's where the series is actually going, as the rest of the episode is basically more of the Destroy All, and there are certainly some awesome things here. First and foremost, all of the Yatsubishi teams, or maybe it's the Mitsukado, it's kind of hard to tell at this point. It is worth mentioning that these two clans are the ones who tend to actually end up in the finals more often than not, so sort of like they're the top dogs. But Tiger, Cheetah, and the weird civet, the one who has the pheromones all over the place, are actually going to be going up against Hitomi. So it's 3-on-1, but Tiger really is going to be doing all of the fighting. And we don't really get much of their fight in this episode. It's more just like the first couple of attacks. It's literally like watching two animals size up with each other, which of course is very fitting. It just sucks that it had to take up the entire episode, especially because in the last episode Tiger arrived and I expected this one to be full-on Hitomi versus Tiger. It doesn't happen, but we do get some backstory for Tiger, which is just as stereotypical and cheesy as you would expect, and I'm guessing at this point they're not even trying to hide it. They're all like high schoolers. Like Tiger and Leo, we get to see that their entire backstory is like some sort of like stereotypical delinquent Japanese punk story with the characters who like to fight in gangs. And Leo apparently is the strongest person from his school, which I believe is in the west, and then you have the Tiger, who is the strongest from the east, so it's a battle between the lion and the tiger. The only thing is, when they first have an interaction with each other, when Tiger challenges him to a fist fight, he doesn't know that Leo is a therianthrope, but this entire scene is mostly a setup to show us that Leo was apparently holding back in the battle against Hitomi. Despite the fact that the king of the jungle freaking lost in the first episode, he was just sort of doing it on a whim. He doesn't challenge opponents who he considers weaker, and this could be a fatal flaw of the character, or really, he will only bring out his strength when he sees his opponents use their full strength. And if Hitomi was even holding back at that point, it shows that Leo just really didn't care. And I'm really glad that they're explaining this, as ridiculous and stupid as it is, because they've been building up Lion to be like this end-all, super powerful character, and after seeing him defeated in the first episode, that's been really hard to believe. It's something that I had to sort of like trick myself into believing, but this episode made it a lot clearer. So, the episode actually ends with Tiger going on the attack against Hitomi, moving like a freaking bullet, getting right behind her, and knocking her through a wall. But of course, Hitomi is super freaking strong and resilient, gets up, licks the blood off her face, and prepares for her final confrontation with Tiger. It's gonna be awesome. Yet, there's still more to this episode, despite the fact that it is kind of slow. I do love that you have the gorilla, who is chasing the rabbit, Uwe, around constantly, which is just so sad because she doesn't want to fight. She's so scared the entire time. She even pisses her bunny pants in this episode. And of course, Gorilla is a character who has a massive chip on his giant gorilla shoulders, and that's because he's sort of like the stereotypical, like, high school nerd. Everybody looks down upon him and makes fun of him, and that's why he's the super proud and strong gorilla. But he takes that energy and brings it into the battlefield here. The problem is, in the process of chasing after the rabbit, he destroys a lot of the wildlife, which pisses off his teammate Kido, to the point where we now have people who are on the same team fighting against each other, and for lack of a better word, Kido just fucks up Gorilla. He doesn't just, like, punch him or anything. He basically rips him in half. Like, the top half of his body is not connected to the lower half of his body, and he still did it while just being a human. What is this guy? What sort of therianthrope is he to have the ability to do this to a frigging gorilla? I cannot wait to see. What if he is just a regular human? What if there are characters in the series that don't need therianthrope abilities to fight against these half-human, half-animal hybrids? That would be something that would be very shocking and interesting to see, but as far as I'm concerned at this point, seeing that what he is capable of, Kido is definitely the favorite to win the Destroy All here, and I can't wait to see if his path is going to cross with Tiger and Hitomi, because that would be awesome. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Killing Bites? Another stupid fun episode that is mired only by its pacing. It's basically, like I said at the beginning of the review, an extension of last week's episode with a few minor details and a few other cool action scenes, most of which are revolved around Kido the gorilla and Ui the rabbit girl. They're fun, they're cool, but I still wanted to see more of Hitomi and Tiger. That was the thing that has been built up this entire time, this confrontation between these characters. Although I have to say that the last couple of episodes have been doing a great case for the character of Kido, who is absolutely horrifying and very funny as well, as just destroying plants is something that would actually piss him off. And have his own teammate take him out like that is crazy, because now there's only one more, and that's just Kido. He's the only one. Clearly, the group with Tiger have the advantage in the battle here. I don't know what's going to happen. But then, of course, Ishida could come back as well. That's the Ishida clan, of course. Hitomi and their group, they're all still around. They could do something really awesome, which I think would be a nice little twist to this arc, but it's hard to see where this is ultimately all going to be going, as apparently this season is only 12 episodes, so I don't know how much longer they can stretch this out right here. What I will say is, I'm still liking what I'm seeing here. I mean, it's Killing Bites. It's not reinventing the wheel or anything. It's just a stupid, fun show to watch, and I look forward to it every week. I will say, enhance this series by watching it with friends. Everybody just laughs and has a good time while they're watching it. They don't question the ridiculous, over-the-top stuff. You know, if you're making fun of Killing Bites and trying to analyze it and stuff, and you're not liking it because of that, you're completely missing the point of the entire series. Not everything has to be a high-end Kobe beef steak. Sometimes someone just wants a big, fat, juicy cheeseburger from a fast food restaurant. A really good one. And that's what Killing Bites is right here. So take a big old bite right in. This episode, for me personally, was a 3 out of 5. It was not perfect, and in fact, it might be one of the slower episodes of the series, but it still had enough cool moments and spectacle, and frankly, it's just really fun to look at. It's a great show. So there it is, Killing Bites. Check it out, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Make sure to tell me in the comments section below, and what you hope to see in the conclusion of the first season of Killing Bites. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay damn down, baby.